Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Hey guys, Carmine Bianco here of WagerTalk.com, and welcome to another edition of Stoppage Time. This is the Champions League knockout stage show. We're going to cover all four games this week, starting with today's two big games, Liverpool versus Red Bull Leipzig and Barcelona PSG, and then we'll switch over to tomorrow's Sevilla versus Dortmund and Juventus versus FC Porto. With me are Kevin Dolan and Nick Borrman of WagerTalk.com. In our chat room, but not on the screen today, is Pavlos Laguretos. He is suspended from today's show for card accumulation. He loves his cards. He's got 5 of them. So we stuck him in the chat today. So he'll be answering your questions in the stat box today. All right. So let's bring in the guys. We'll bring in Nick first. Nick, how's it going? You had you must be excited because you had a very good Champions League knockout stage last year. You went 23-7 with your knockout stage plays. Tell us what you got up and how things are going.
Yeah, I'm excited for the knockout stage. My recent soccer form the past weekend sucked, and for whatever reason, the group stage of the Champions League sucked, but I did well in the Europa League. But anyway, I'm looking forward to getting to this knockout round. Did really well in this format last year, so hope to carry that over. I have 2 5%. I just love these 4 games on this first week. I have one today and one tomorrow. Really love the spots for some of these teams, and looking forward to watching the best on the field this week.
Awesome, good to hear. And yeah, for anyone, we'll talk about the promos later, but for anyone that's looking for the promos, I'll quickly mention that Euro 50 deal is still available, and you can grab all of Nick's or myself or Kevin Dolan, all of our plays in Champions and Europa right through to the finals for only $199. It's $249, but you can use Euro 50 at checkout and get $50 off. So do the math, guys, with these 5% plays, and there's going to be a few more of them that go at $40 a play. This is a pretty good deal. Just lock that up now and early. Let's bring in Kevin Dolan. If there's a guy with 5% plays that are on fire, it is our Irishman, Kev. Kev, you're, correct me if I'm wrong, 4-0 so far in February in 5% plays.
Yep, 4-0 to start the month, which was nice. Same as Nick, when I like a player that I like 5%, I'm all over the value in it, and it's been really good this month. And 3-1 last night, we had that winner on Chelsea to win to 0 as well. So, it's definitely a good run of form right now. And, as Nick said, I'm extremely excited. We got a 5% play up for tomorrow, and I love all of these games, actually.
I like that. If you're on the same side as me, then I love them as well. But with that said, guys, we're going to fire out the biggest game probably of the 4 right off the bat. Excuse me. Barcelona PSG. Current odds on this, Barcelona plus 100, even money. The draw is plus 280. PSG is plus 240. And the total currently sits at 3. Kev, I'm going to go to you first on this, but listen, we all remember what happened the last time these two teams met in a knockout stage of the Champions League. PSG won leg 1 at home 4-0, seemingly on their way into the next round. Head over to Camp Nou, where they haven't fared very well. Lifetime there, 0-3-2, 3 losses, 2 draws. And they were dealt a 6-1 drubbing by Lionel Messi and the gang. Sending Barcelona into the next round. A lot's changed since then as far as, the makeup of the teams. But one thing that hasn't really changed is Barcelona at home are usually in Champions League very solid. Prior to that knockout stage game, prior to the group stage game against Juventus, where they lost 3-0 at home, Kev, they had won or gone unbeaten in 38 straight games at Camp Nou in Champions League, dating back to like 2013, where they lost to Bayern Munich. So with that in mind, and I want to get your thoughts on how this team is playing right now. The switch with Koeman has his team playing a lot better since they switched to the 4-3-3. You have Dembele, Messi, and Griezmann, who seem to be playing much better together. And a couple notables missing for PSG with Neymar and Di Maria out of the lineup. Kev, give me your thoughts.
You know, they say a week's a long time in politics. I don't know about that, but 2 months is sure a long time in football, because, you know, when this draw for the knockout stage got released back in December, there was 2 bets that I liked. I quickly pounded PSG minus 130 and Atletico plus 120, who we'll talk about next week. You know, both to qualify. Thought there was a ton of value there. But as you said, a lot has changed, and I'm definitely not as confident on this PSG selection as I was back then. You know, I did say at the start, when we previewed the Champions League back in September, I've always been a fan of Ronald Koeman. I think he's a very underappreciated manager, you know, but as much of a fan of him as I am, you know, the mess that he inherited at Barcelona, you know, Messi wanted out, players were aging, Griezmann was playing some absolutely shocking football, Suarez departure, you know, and it was a really tough start from. So when this leg got released, Barcelona were in some real dire straits. So I love the value on PSG, but you know, Barcelona are suddenly now the hottest team in the Liga. You know, they've won 7 straight games. And it's been the opposite in terms of PSG. They've undergone a management change, obviously, with Tuchel out. Di Maria's out for this game. Neymar's out, as we know. And, you know, because of these factors, this PSG line has moved to plus 110 now. And it's hard to argue with that move. Pochettino's had some teething problems in his move to Paris. You know, we've seen him get overturned by Lorient a couple of weeks ago, 3-2. You know, and the worst thing about that game, it wasn't just the 3-2 loss. Both of PSG's goals came from Neymar penalties. So they really need to hit form soon if they're going to take anything from this game. Overall, I think PSG will be relatively content with a close loss. I think if you offered Pochettino a 2-1 or 3-2 loss pre-game, I think he'd take it, you know. I think he'd be more than happy with that. Overturning 1 goal going back to France wouldn't be a huge problem, especially considering if Neymar can return to fitness. But the key here for PSG is getting that away goal. That's paramount for PSG here. And because of that, I like the over here. Domestically, both teams are above average in defence, but with the attack and threat both of these teams possess up front, I don't think they'll be able to keep each other out defensively. And with the urgency of PSG needing that away goal in this leg as well, as I say, if they don't get an away goal, I think they're automatically out. I think we see a few goals in this one tonight as both teams look to push forward. So over 3 goals for me in this one.
Yeah, Nick, listen, Kev actually makes a very good point. And if you, and I know you're an exact score guy, you look at those markets as well. I have to believe the same thing in a sense, is that, listen, no team goes into leg one thinking, let's try not to lose big, or let's just try and manage the game. But sometimes when your lineup dictates and you're missing some players, it's what you do. Listen, they're still multi-talented. You know, you have Mbappe there. There's just a ton of talent on this PSG team. But you're heading into a game where you have the advantage of playing leg 2 at home. So it's one of those things where, as Kev said, if we can get an away goal and we get out of this down 2-1 heading home, we feel really good about themselves. And then you look at that exact score market, and the Barcelona 2-1 exact scores plus 750, which is second only to a 1-1 draw at plus 700 in the exact score market. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin's right about the away goal for sure. PSG definitely have to push for that. Myself, I'm going to lay off the total on the over on this one, just because usually leg ones are the lower scoring of the 2 legs, as teams really, you know, set themselves up for that second leg. But Kevin's 100% right. If PSG does not score in this game, I don't see any chance that they're going to move on from this match. And for that reason, I like, the price is still good. I like Barcelona to advance. So instead of just taking them in the game right here, you can take them to advance, which is the result of both of these legs, this leg and the next leg 3 weeks from now. And it's only about minus 125. So I think it's a pretty good price. And if they can hold PSG scoreless, or at least build a lead here, over the 2 games, Kevin's 100% right as far as the form. Barcelona look very, very strong. They're playing excellent. They struggled a little bit in the early part of the season. But man, have they come alive. They're all the behind-the-scene numbers of Barcelona are the best in the league. They have the highest expected goal numbers they have the best differential in the league, plus 1.2 per game. The next closest is Sociedad at plus 0.85. They have there was a stat I was looking at. I haven't looked at it in the last 2 weeks, but it was about 2 weeks ago. They had the highest expected goals. I forget how to word this, but basically they had the highest mark of goalkeeper saves against them when they should have scored. So basically, their goalkeepers that were playing against them were saving something like 7 expected goals on Barcelona. The next closest team in Europe was like 3. It was just ridiculous how far ahead, meaning, they're getting unlucky in the results. That was a few weeks ago, and this now they seem to be scoring at will. They just put up 5 against Alaves this past weekend, which isn't really saying much. Alaves is not that obviously great of a team. But listen, Messi is playing very well. Griezmann finally looks like the player that he was supposed to be when he came over here. De Jong's coming into his own for these guys, and really the worry here and the strategy that I think PSG have to deploy is Barcelona is the number 1 possession team remaining in the Champions League. They own the highest possession mark of anybody, and there's no stopping that. And I think for PSG, the way they're going to win this game is on the counter. They have the fastest guy in the field, in Mbappe, and if they can hit him on the counter, which Barcelona is prone to letting up those counter tackles, that's their best chance. So I think the way this is going to play out is it's going to be possession-heavy Barcelona. They're going to try to attack on that counter with Mbappe, and if they can get that goal, they'll have a chance. But over the 2 legs, I think, again, I don't see Neymar coming back for the second leg. I don't know about Di Maria. But I think there's just too much absence here. There's just PSG just doesn't look as good. They're not even winning a weak League One team, and they're struggling against some of the teams that they should be beating. So I just don't see it happen. I think Barcelona 2 legs here is the way to play this one.
All right, very good info. Let's head into today's second game. Red Bull Leipzig, Liverpool, Leg 1 now. We must mention this in case you don't know it. This game is not being played in Germany because of the travel COVID rules. This game has been moved to Budapest. So it is essentially a neutral zone game for this. Leipzig are plus 190. The draw is plus 260. Liverpool is plus 130 as a slight plus money favorite. And the total here I'm seeing at 2.75 at writing of these notes. So listen, and I'm going to go to Nick. I'm going to go to you first on this one. The champions 2 years removed. Like I said, they're traveling to Budapest to face this Leipzig side. When I look at this Liverpool team, they're not. I hate using the word. They're not as bad as their last 3 games because I'm almost making a statement that they're a bad team. They're not a bad team. They're a very good team, but they've made mistakes in their last 3 games, and they were made to pay for them. You can't make those mistakes against Man City and not pay for them. You can't make those mistakes against a Leicester team who can counterattack amongst the best of them. And they were burnt there for like 3 goals in a 7-minute span as well, too, after taking the lead. Can't make those mistakes. So now the focus switches. They're not going to win the title. I think they're too far off. Now their focus is finish top 4 in the Premier League. But more importantly, the focus switches to Champions League, which I think is better for this team. And, they head into this game, and I still look at this. Listen, Red Bull Leipzig are playing extremely well, Nick, but I'm the guy who always looks at a team's schedule, and they have not faced a team like Liverpool that has a trident up front that when they click can score, and when they score a couple of goals, and sometimes that's too much to overcome, especially in League One. So give me your thoughts on this one.
You're 100% right. I mean, you look at the form of both teams, and you're like, wow, Leipzig is unbeaten in their last 10 games, and they look very good. Liverpool can't win a game. I think they have 2 wins now in their last 10 Premier League games, which is, I don't know the last time we've said something like that. So it's easy to quickly go and say, well, shoot, Leipzig, and they're catching a quarter of a goal. Seems like the way to play it. But I'm not so sure. Agreeing with what you're saying, Carmen, the schedule has been weak for Leipzig. They really haven't faced anybody. The 2 teams they've faced in their run that are decent, they drew they lost 1-3 at home to Dortmund, and then they drew 2-2 at Wolfsburg, which is a good indicator to me that against a good team, like obviously Liverpool is, even though the results haven't showed it as of late, I don't see them keeping Liverpool off the scoreboard. So the way I'm looking at this game, instead of taking the side, because I do think the value lies with Liverpool, just a plus money number on Liverpool just seems like too good a value to pass up. But instead of taking the side here, I see both teams getting on the board. I'm not sure, the total's at 2 3/4. So I feel like a 2-1 result either way could be the way this game ends. And if so, you're only getting, a half paid result on your wager at 2.75. So both teams to score is the way I'm really looking at this match. It's a little high. It's minus 160 right now, but I really see no way that either of these teams is left off the board. I mean, Liverpool, oddly enough, the team I worry about more from not scoring is Liverpool. But I just, they've had a ton. They have had their injuries this year. The Premier League title is definitely out of reach for this team. But really, a deep run in this competition is what's going to keep the critics at bay, what's going to keep Klopp and the team happy. And I think they're going to put all their eggs in the basket, and they're going to go and play as hard. Not that any other team's not going to put all their eggs in their basket of the Champions League, but I think they can really focus on doing everything they can to save their season, because the Premier League's lost. There's no catching Man City. In fact, they have to scrape together just to get top 4 status. But Liverpool, their defense, you said it, Carm, they're making mistakes, and another mistake here. Leipzig's good enough to capitalize on that, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them get 2 goals themselves. There's too much defensive worry here, really from both sides. Leipzig when they play good teams, and Liverpool just in general, that I just don't see either team being blanked here. I love the fact that both teams to score is priced at minus 160. If it gets up to 2-1 minus 200, it's too high. But right now where it is, I love that number. So I like that's the way to play this one, guys.
Kev, I'm going to throw it to you because I know you love to follow Nick on these debates. So give me your thoughts on this game.
This is a very tricky game. It's probably it is a really tricky game. Look, I would obviously prefer if Liverpool were still in the hunt for the Premier League. I would feel a lot more comfortable with back in Leipzig if it was a 2-horse race or 3-horse race in the Premier League, because it'd be a good sign of taking a goal head start or a quarter goal head start with Leipzig. But with the title race over in England, Liverpool will be 100% focused for this competition. So from that standpoint, it's tricky. We seen Leipzig, they got absolutely shredded by Manchester United 5-0. But we've talked about this before. I'm a big fan of Julian Nagelsmann, and I thought they regrouped really well. They won 3 of the last 4 in that group. Reverse wins against PSG and Man United as well. Knocked out Man United. So it was a really good turnaround tactically for Nagelsmann. Tactics are going to be key in this one. You mentioned the trident. We know how Nagelsmann's going to, combat that. He's going to flood that midfield in this one. 5-man bank. He looks to kind of strangle off the ball. Liverpool like to play it through from the back. So tactically, it's almost like going to be watching a boxing match, because you're going to watch 2 really good tacticians kind of figure each other out. Because of that, it's a really tough one. You got Firmino up front. I mean, how can you trust that guy? I've been burnt so many times on him. Because of the stranglehold in midfield, it could be a really long night for Liverpool. So just at the current line, in the current form, I have to take a piece of Leipzig here. Would I be shocked if Liverpool win? Look, you guys have covered it. Not at all. They've got some phenomenal talent. They possess players in Salah, and especially, in my opinion, Mane, who could turn the game around with one piece of individual brilliance. So with the way both teams are going to set up tactically, I just have to take the little piece of value in Leipzig plus a quarter, because I do think they can keep it relatively tight.
All right. And the most important thing, well, not the most important thing, but if anyone watched the Bayern Munich game yesterday in Germany, you know what the weather is like in Europe, and these fields with some snow get bogged down pretty quick. That first half of that game was absolutely a snow fest, and then it stopped and the field cleared up and it was a much better game. The weather in Budapest at Puskás Arena is 34, cloudy, no snow, no precipitation, 1%. So I don't think we have to worry about snow in today's game, which makes it a much more enjoyable game. You have to factor those in apparently now. So it's an important thing. Guys, it's $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. $2 Tuesdays is a chance to get a featured capper who is one of the hottest cappers at both sites. Their play for that night for only $2. It is Ralph Michaels is the it's Dwayne. Okay. Dwayne Bryant is the featured capper. Sorry, I thought it was Ralph Michaels. Dwayne Bryant is the featured capper over at WagerTalk. You can get his play for only $2. And it's Rocky Atkinson over at Sports Memo. So these are plays that normally sell for $29 or $40. You can get them for only $2 today. And there's some great promo and bonus offers within that play when you buy them. So head over to WagerTalk.com and Sports Memo and pick up those plays. All right, guys, let's get over to game number 3. This is the one I know everyone in chat has been waiting for. Juventus versus FC Porto. The line in this game, Porto plus 310. The draw is plus 220. Juventus is even money plus 100. And the total is a very low 2.25 goals. Listen, leg one's in Porto. Juventus come off a loss to Napoli on the weekend, which put a dent in them winning the Serie A title for a 10th straight season. But their focus this year seems to have been on Champions League from the get-go and trying to win another title along the way. You can see that focus. Going to Camp Nou and beating the Barcelona team 3-0 was a very impressive game for this team. And listen, with the exception of Cuadrado, who was injured and was subbed off against Napoli on the weekend, this team is healthy. This is the healthiest they've been all season. They rested Bonucci on the weekend. You have De Ligt, who is now injury-free. You have Chiellini. So the back line is strong. And from the midfield out, everyone seems to be healthy. Porto, on the other hand, I'm not going to downplay it, but the past month hasn't seen this team play they haven't played extremely well at all. 4 draws in all competitions. Have sort of fallen off the chase for that Premier League title. So I'm going to go to Kev. I'm going to go to you first on this one. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, it was a really disappointing loss to Napoli. We had the both teams to score on that one. 22 goal attempts. They pulled a complete blank. So that was really poor. And as you said, they're slipping really off the pace domestically, sitting a full 10 points behind leaders Inter, albeit they have a game in hand. Despite that, I still have to look at Juve here. They're fully focused on this Champions League. But it's less even about how good I feel Juve are. It's just how weak I think Porto are. This isn't the same Portuguese league we've seen from seasons past. I think I mentioned this in the previous video. Over the last couple of years, Portugal has seen their outgoing transfer base keep getting younger and younger, and they're offloading the majority of good players in their teens now instead of early 20s. I think Bruno Fernandes he's really just out there on his own in terms of his age, and that's led to a huge deficiency in their league strength domestically. And it's not just Juve who have issues domestically either. Porto have their own issues. Just 2 wins from the last 6 in the Premier Liga. They sit a full 10 points off Sporting Lisbon. And to be honest, look, if they actually sat down, I'm not sure how realistically Porto expect to beat Juventus in this tie, if it was totally honest. I think it's probably more beneficial if they focus, in their own league. So if Juventus turn up here at all, as you said, they're back to full strength. I think they're simply too strong for Porto here. So give me Juventus and what's likely a low-scoring game.
Yeah, I agree. And Nick, as I throw this to you, I say this every year, once you get into the knockout stages, it's funny in the sense of when they do the draw, everyone's like, oh, they got the easy game or they got the easy opponent. There are no easy opponents in this. And any Juventus fan out there who thinks that Porto is an easy opponent, think about what you thought last year in the round of 16 when you played Lyon. And Lyon turned out to be that team that knocked out Juve and then played, I believe it was Man City, knocked out Man City. And there are no easy draws in this competition. These teams are very good. I believe 14 of the 16 teams that are in the knockout stages are the top 14, I believe, power ranked teams. I think it is. I'm not sure if I'm using the right terminology here. But Nick, give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, you definitely are. These are the best teams in the world. Porto is the only non-Big Five remaining team left in this competition, so it is very top heavy, which it usually is. It's the Champions League. It's supposed to be the best in the world. But Porto, I mean, realistically, their only chance, in my opinion, is to keep Juve off the scoreboard here at home. They cannot give up that away goal, which is going to be tough. But I think their best tactic is going to be to play defense and to try to keep this game slow, keep Juve from pushing forward, keep Ronaldo, of course, in check. So, 2.25 is a low total, but I actually see that there's decent value in taking the under just because of the fact that that's Porto's only way that they're going to progress from these two legs. I mean, if you look at the prices, I mean, Juve's minus 300 or even higher, depending on what book you look at, to advance over the two legs. So you give them an away goal here, I mean, you might as well say goodnight. Now, Porto, you got to remember, they were able to do this same thing against City. They played to a scoreless 0-0 draw at home versus Man City in the group stage. So they have the capabilities of, closing the door and shutting off a team like Juve. But again, that's the best way, I think, to do it. If you're looking at a side, you got to look at Juventus. I mean, yes, they lost this past week in the Napoli. Even in that loss, though, they played very well. They actually generated over 2 expected goals in that game compared to just 1.06 for Napoli. Just weren't able to get on the scoreboard. Defensively, they've been fantastic for really a long time. Before that loss, they had kept 6 clean sheets from their last 7 games, which includes games against Inter Milan twice, Roma, and Napoli in the Super Cup. Pretty impressive competition to be holding a lot of those teams scoreless. Meanwhile, Porto, I mean, even in the Primera Liga, they're not winning. They have 4 straight draws. They failed to beat teams like Boavista, Belenenses. I mean, a Champions League contender should be able to handle those teams pretty handily, and they just simply can't. Porto, again, they're the underdog here. They are tough to beat in that role, especially at home. Again, I mentioned the 0-0 draw they played to Man City, and I mentioned Juve playing that strong defense. So it's a low total for a reason, 2.25. I like the under here. I think it could be a 1-0 result possibly for Juve at most. Maybe it's 2-0. And that stays under the total here. And again, it's only a half winner there, but I just don't see this game going over the number right now.
Yeah, and they faced each other. I think it was this was the pre Ronaldo era, but they did face each other in the knockout stages of Champions League in 2017, and it was a similar setup. Juve played the first game in Porto, won that game 2-0, and then came home and just took care of business, winning 1-0 and protecting those 2 away goals and advancing into the next stage. Guys, before we go into this final game, which is the Sevilla and Dortmund game, I just want to remind you of the special that we have up. It's the Euro 50 special. You can get every single play from any of the featured cappers on this show and the guy in chat who is suspended for today's show, Pavlos Laguretos at Sports Memo. The package goes for $249, but you can get it for $199 when you use the code Euro50 at checkout. And you're going to get every single play released in Champions League and Europa League between now and the end of the competition, the finals. And that includes any prop-based plays along the way, whether they're exact scores, cards, corners, teams to advance. All of those are included in the package. So head over to WagerTalk.com and Sports Memo, and you can pick that up for only $199 when using Euro50 at checkout. All right, guys, Sevilla, Dortmund. Last but not least, Sevilla plus 130. The draw is plus 250. Dortmund is plus 200, and the total is sitting currently at 2.5. Nick, I'm going to go to you first on this one. This one's a tricky one for me in the sense of the 4 games. Sevilla are in great form right now, unbeaten in 9, only 1 loss in their last 19 games in all competitions. And you look at Dortmund, and it's like only 2 wins in their last 7 in all competitions, 3 straight losses in away contests. But they have the type of attack that can give this Sevilla team fits. And again, I look at the Sevilla lineup, or not lineup, but I look at their schedule. And other than a Copa del Rey Leg 1 win over Barcelona, I'm struggling to find a team that comes anywhere close to the quality of what this Dortmund team has. So I'm going to throw it to you first to prove me wrong.
I don't think you're wrong necessarily in the analysis of their recent schedule. But I kind of want to look a little bit more towards the Dortmund side, and I'll come back to Sevilla to start. So first of all, let me say this. I bleed yellow. You guys know that, but my money is green, and I just cannot get behind Dortmund right now. When defensively you can't stop anyone, and I mean they're playing bad teams too in the league, and they can't stop anyone right now. And when you're playing a team like Sevilla that knows how to win 1-0 more than anybody else, maybe Atletico Madrid is the only other team that can win 1-0 more often than Sevilla. It scares me. So if you give Sevilla a goal, even two, they know how to protect that lead. And I know Dortmund can go off anytime, right? We know the players they have. Haaland, of course, can score a goal from midfield if he wants. But Sevilla know how to play these competitions. They're the defending Europa champions for a reason. They've won that competition a million times. Of course, that means that they probably will, crap out of the Champions League side a little earlier. But I just think in this leg one, at home, plus 125, plus 130, plus 135, whatever it is right now, it's too good a value to pass up on a team that defensively is just so strong right now. And even against Barcelona, you mentioned it, Carm, they won 2-0. Barcelona didn't get a lot of good chances in that game. They've won 9 straight games, and what's the most impressive, and yes, Carm, you mentioned the schedule. Still, La Liga is a deep league for teams to, even towards the bottom, that are still pretty solid. And to keep 7 straight clean sheets is rare these days. It's just really, really rare. They haven't, if you add up the minutes, they haven't conceded a goal in over 700 minutes. That's insane. So again, I don't trust Dortmund. If they give up a goal or two early, forget about it. There's just no better team in my mind that knows how to protect a lead than Sevilla does, and I'm scared for that reason. Now, if Dortmund do strike first, of course it changes everything. But even still, I like Sevilla in this one. I think the value is on the home side, so I go there, guys.
Yeah, and before I throw it to Kevin for the last word on this one, this could be one of those scenarios again of manageable games and getting a result in leg one before you head home. The one difference here is, will that leg two be a neutral field game, again because of the travel in Germany? And this Dortmund team, without that yellow wall and their fans, have not played well at home. They just haven't. This is a team that is fueled by those fans. With that said, Kev, I'm going to throw it to you for the last word, but I am going to mention this one as well as Sevilla has done in Europa, dominating that competition and winning it. They have never made it past the round of 16 in Champions League play. So give me your thoughts. Can they do it this time?
Oh, definitely. When Nick was talking there, I had that image, the Homer Simpson image where he goes back into the bushes with his Dortmund shirt, with the way they've been playing lately. Look, this definitely has echoes of Leipzig and Liverpool, but probably more so because, we've seen Lucien Favre get his marching orders back in December. They haven't done anything all season. They have the 5th worst form in the Bundesliga right now. They've picked up just 5 points from a possible 18 over the last 6. On the road, they've lost 3 straight. So, you would need balls of steel to walk to the window and take Dortmund in this spot, and on the other hand, we see such a hot team. Lopetegui has to be one of the best managers in Europe, if not the best. He's been tactically on point all season. And Sevilla are putting some real pressure on those power 3 at the top in La Liga. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they broke through at some point as well. But look, you guys covered it. The one caveat you always have to be cautious of when looking to fade Dortmund, they have such an amount of star power up front. Erling Haaland, best striker on the planet for me, and he's got that incredible support behind Sancho, Rice and Hazard. So, if they click, they're just so dangerous. They're literally capable of destroying teams, and they did that to Leipzig. I think Nick mentioned that before last month. They beat them 3-1 on the road. For me, Sevilla are starting to shake off that defence-first oriented tag they've built up over previous seasons. Each of the last 4 Champions League games has seen over 2.5 goals cash. They rank 4th in the league at home this season on expected goals average at 1.84 XG per game. When Nesri scored 13 goals domestically this season, Papu Gomez playing well right now as well. So, when you factor that in, with facing possibly the best striker on the planet right now on the opposite side as well, it's hard for me not to lean over here. I think 2.5 is a relatively low line, probably more based off the Sevilla team of a season or two ago, even with their clean sheets. I think they can score here. So I like over here on Wednesday between Dortmund and Sevilla.
All right. That is the final word from Kevin Dolan. I'm going to mention just before we go out again, please smash that like button, hit that like button, lightly tap that like button, whatever. Just like the video. Give these guys your support. It's $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Rocky Atkinson is the $2 capper. He has a 5% play up at Sports Memo, and you can get that for only $2. And Dwayne Bryant is the featured capper over at WagerTalk, and you can get his play for also $2. So head over to WagerTalk and Sports Memo, pick up those plays and some great deals that you'll find within those plays. Thanks to everyone in the chat for being active, for Pavlos for serving his time in the box. We'll have him back on next Tuesday. And guys, best of luck on your wagers in Champions League and Europa League this week, and we'll see you all on the next Stoppage Time.
NHL is back, and so are the expert hockey handicappers at